Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel, and today we are setting up for the month of June or cycle 6 in my everyday journal. As I always say when it comes to one of these videos, if you're new here, I do a slightly different way of tracking or planning out my year and my months and my weeks and everything like that. So I will link the creator that taught me more about cyclic planning below. It's always in the description of these videos, but essentially I use a 4-week block and call it a cycle instead of a month, because obviously months are not just naturally 4 weeks. It starts on a Monday, it ends on a Sunday, and I find that this planning has been really beneficial for me, especially while I'm navigating certain parts of my life that have changed recently, and I just focus on this 4-week block normally. However, over every quarter there is 1 extra week in the system, and we're at that point. So for June there will be 5 weeks on the calendar on the right hand side, but otherwise not a lot has changed. Obviously I do try to change up my weekly spreads just a little bit each time, because I find that if I do the same thing every single time every month, 1, it stops working for me, and 2, I just need a little bit of variation. Also, every cycle, month, whatever you want to call it, seems to feel like it's evolving in a different way, so I just do what best suits what is coming ahead for me. So let's get into a little bit about the decoration for the month of June or cycle 6. I was very fortunate to receive a package from 𝓤𝓼𝓭 recently. One of the PET tapes in that package was this gorgeous green, and it has like little bits of yellow and blue throughout it. This lovely green ethereal looking PET tape. I think it's called Party Angel. I will have it linked below along with all the other things that I'm using that I can link. And I knew that I wanted to use it for my birthday month, because June is when I turn 40. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I'm not one of those people that are trying to run away from my age. It just doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel like that's me in this point of life, but you know, I'm very excited to turn another year old, and yeah, I always try to make a big deal about my birthday in my journals. I'm not sure why. I always like to have the best theme for that particular month, and if you've followed me for a long time now, you know that that doesn't tend to work out for me. I always have like these grand ideas, and then it doesn't really come to fruition. But I am very grateful to say that I really enjoyed this one, and the fact that I was able to finish the entire PET tape within the whole setup, which was quite special to know that this is the only place that this tape will exist in one of my journals. So yeah, that is sort of my long-winded way of saying that I wanted to make this special, use a color that I really love, which is green. It's not my favorite shade of green, but I really am happy with how this all came together. And I do differentiate the 5th week in my calendar. So for people who do cyclic planning, I'm not sure if it's everyone that follows this route, but that extra week we call reset week to get ready for the next quarter ahead. And that will be why that part of the calendar has a slightly different color when it comes to the dots that mark out the days. But yeah, otherwise I'm using all these lovely shades of 𝓬𝓬 markers that I sort of picked to match the colors from the PET tape. So we've got this green, albeit it is a little bit brighter than the greens in the tape. And then I've got sort of like a really soft beige. I've got a yellow and a blue. So I'm really happy with how this came together. Also, I am using my Cricut for the headers today. I think it was Alafyou Swirly, the font, but I'll have that linked below, or at least written down below, with all the other details that you need to know. Unfortunately, I put this header down slightly crooked, so I did have to fiddle with getting it back up a little bit. I'm one of those people that can't quite cope if it's completely crooked. If it's a little bit crooked, I can cope, but yeah, that was just a little bit off for me. So thankfully I was able to fix it without ripping any of the letters. I did end up doing that in the later portions of the setup, but it was when I wasn't filming, so I don't have any proof to show you that happened. But thankfully I had accidentally printed an extra header for that particular one that I messed up, so it all turned out perfectly, and worked out in the end. So here you can see I changed the dots for that week, put reset along the side, and then I'm just going to go in and put in the numbers. So yeah, very straightforward cover page for me. I put all the decoration on the left hand side, used a bit of washi tape. It's just like foil type washi tape. It's really pretty, that I've had for years to sort of differentiate, like give it a bit of a border. I've been on a borders kick, you all know that. So I just had to do that again. I also felt like it needed more stuff down the bottom here, and I think that's the only place where I kind of wish that I hadn't put anything. I did try to remove it at one point, not on camera, and it was really well stuck down. So yeah, it just looks a little bit odd, I think. Not so much this one, but this one over here. I'm sorry, I put something else there in the end. I just felt like it was a little bit weird, but it's growing on me now. So that is how it's going to end up looking. And to balance out the top, I do come in and put more of that washi tape, just because it felt very white and bare compared to the rest of the setup of how busy and full this page is. There is this decorative paper that I've put underneath. I have no idea where I've gotten it from, so I can't link that, I'm afraid. But it's like this really pretty damask, is that how you say it? Design over top of writing on some green paper. So I just put that in there. And then of course I had to mark down on the cover page, on the calendar for this particular video, that my birthday is the 18th of June. I don't know why I have to be so loud about it, but that's me. I always have to put that down. I guess it comes from my mum. She always made a big deal about our birthdays, so that's how I did that one. And to go along with the whole turning 40, I decided to make this page here, and it is called the 40 Things I Love About Me. My therapist has been going on a lot about not necessarily that I'm in a negative headspace or anything like that, because I'm not, but just, finding ways to show myself a bit more love. And I am a perfectionist, so I will focus on critique more than compliment. And I am very good at critiquing myself and my bad habits, and not so much at, celebrating wins and enjoying things about myself. So I have challenged myself to write down 40 different things about myself over this portion of the year. It would be nice to get it done before I turn 40. I'm not sure. I do have my next therapy appointment on the 9th. It would be very nice to take it in fully finished then. We'll see. I thought this was just a really fun idea, and it's had the most amazing response over on Instagram. Everyone's commenting about this page, so I'm really glad that I did it, not just because other people were interested in it, but because I do feel like we as a society are more trained to look at how we can improve, as in the way we present ourselves or how we do things, instead of just complimenting the things we've already done. And I feel like at the age that I'm going to be turning, there's a lot to look back on and see, that was a really good thing that I did. So, yeah, I decided to take out my new Archer and Olive monograph pens and do the line work for all 40 boxes. Spoiler alert, I actually did 41, but I just turned one of them, you'll see where I'm faffing around trying to figure out what to do with it, into a box that says date completed, because I didn't count correctly. But yeah, I've outlined them in different weights. So I started out with the 0.3, this is the 0.5, I think. Then I move on to the 0.7 and end on the 0.9. So yeah, 4 different weights. And then I also come through and use the 4 different colors that I have for this theme as well, just to outline the boxes. I think that gave it a really nice charm and just brought in more interest to the page. I'm not sure what pen I'm going to use to write everything in. I don't know if I want to go colourful or just keep it all the same pen and then just fill it in with that one colour, and then the boxes will stand out for the colours that are on the outside of them. I'm not sure yet. I was so happy with how this came together that I'm almost too scared to touch it now. So I might even write things down about myself on like a little document and then add it into here. I'm not sure yet. Obviously there's some spaces that are very teeny tiny, and then some spaces that have a bit more room to write out, a bit more about that particular reason. So we'll just wait and see how this all comes together, I guess. Your guess at this point is as good as mine, just because I'm being so hesitant about it. So I've already been using this setup because I am late to share this video with you all. I set this up, I think the day or 2 days before I started, like the week started for the first week in the cycle. So yeah, I'm a little bit delayed in getting out content as it is. So I am just sharing transparently that I haven't even touched this page yet, despite already being in this cycle. But it also feels a bit weird to touch it before June arrives. So, that's how it is a little bit at the moment. So as I mentioned, I just went around some of the boxes, just randomly picked them, made sure they weren't really touching. There's a couple of points where they do touch a little bit. And then this one particular color was making not the pen bleed essentially, but it did look a little bit odd. So that's why I did check the tip when I went over the really thick line, see if it was marking up on the pen, and it wasn't. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. But I had a really good time going around all the edges of these boxes with the different colors. I think it really pops off the page because some of them are quite muted, like that beigey color, and then this blue here is very pale, and then you've got the pop of green and the pop of yellow to sort of counteract that. I thought it just looked really pretty. And I did end up putting the header off center intentionally because I wanted to use the space up the top there, and I thought it would look nice if I just added in a bit of decoration. So I used the bottom half of the archway that I used on the Cycle 6 side of the last page, just to fill it in and use it up. Like I mentioned, I was very thrilled that every single part of this PET tape was used in the setup. That doesn't happen very often, and in some ways it's very cool because obviously with the washi tape shop rolls that I've gotten recently, there's so much left on them, like there's so much, and I went very decorative heavy with them, and so I can use those time and time again in other designs if I want to. And then when I come and look at this one, it means that this is just the only time it has this design. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's cool, but then it's also like storage wise, a little bit of a hassle sometimes when you are very much so a stationery addict and you enjoy collecting different types of things. I actually had to buy a new washi tape storage box, and it's unfortunately already full. So I'm gonna have to buy another one, which is kind of annoying. I did try to unhaul in the process, and you'll be thrilled to hear that I gave up a total of 5 washi tapes, and then decided that I would keep them all to put to use as the washi tape I rip up to put down headers if I'm penciling them in. So have I really given up anything? No, not really. It is a very bad habit of mine to go, oh, but what if I need that particular washi tape one day? Chances are it spends more time in my collection than being used. But I digress. We are now on to the last page that I will show you in this video. There are multiple pages after this that I did not film because they were pretty similar in design. So this is my weekly dashboard. It has been through a lot of changes this year. And in the way my life is currently, I have needed it to just be on a 2-page spread. I don't need it to take up too much space. I am also in the mindset of tracking more things digitally now. So perhaps I may not need this journal next year, but I do really enjoy the decorative element of it. So we shall see what happens then. And I do enjoy sharing slightly different content with you all here on this channel, as opposed to it always being just reading journal content. But I admit that there are times where I'm setting this up and that time could be spent on other reading journal requirements or tasks that I haven't been doing, such as updating my books I've loved journal, which is something I really need to get into because I've printed out all the covers now for 2025. We're only in April of me updating it, so I really need to get stuck in on that. I'm not sure why I keep waiting for this most magical moment to appear that shines down and says, this is the time to work on this journal. But yeah, it is just slowly in the background. So I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes for the rest of the year. I really do enjoy having the space set up, but me using it sometimes is the first one that I will neglect, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to put down 7 boxes up the top. As you can see, they're already on there. They are for the days of the week, obviously. I have left enough room for appointments and then just a little space to jot down how the day went. And I have been using this and I find it really helpful. And then I've got a little habits tracker right underneath. And then I decided that I would use this decorative arch and then use the beige coloured marker to do a second line every second line highlight. I had such a hard time sticking this down, by the way. I don't know what I was attempting to do, but I get there in the end. But yeah, I decided that I would just put a second line highlight down for this one, and I would use it for just notes if I needed to, or it could just stay kind of like that. I'm not too bothered. This section down here is going to be for the goals that I want to achieve this week. I can't actually remember what goals I wrote down. Let me check. So it is, where are we? Here we go. To get back to doing the horses, because I've had to take a break from looking after our horses. They have been looked after. They've not been left. But I just haven't been able to when I was so low in energy. So I am back doing that. It's been really great. I had my June reading journal set up, which I have completed, and that video will be coming next. Finish outstanding reads. I'm not going to get this one done, unfortunately. I have one book that I've been carrying over for weeks now, and it is The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes. I'm obsessed with it. I'm only at 19% because I've put arcs ahead of it. And so, unfortunately, I just won't get to that at this point. But equally, I have read 21 books in May, which is the most amazing amount. But equally, why? Why did I read so much? And so I'm okay with that going over into June. And then we've got some items in the house that I want to sell so it stops decluttering and make a little bit of money. So that is a task that I am doing tomorrow. So I'm rating this on the 30th of May, so it's Saturday. And hopefully we're going to tackle that task tomorrow. Necessarily selling them tomorrow, but getting them up to be sold would be great. So that is the plan. And then as you can see, I've set up a little priority section. I always have that, sort of like the Alistair method. So I can mark down, like say, making an IG post, then I can see what days I did actually post to Instagram, that kind of thing. It does somewhat look like a habit tracker sometimes because the tasks can repeat and feel a bit like a habit, but I just use that so I can track when I've done something. I actually feel like I should move some of my habits onto this list because they're not necessarily habits I'm checking, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, here is the final flip through. I will show you all of the weekly pages now. The first one's not my favorite actually, but I think it's this. No, not this one. I do like this one though. It is this one here. I think this one's my favorite. And yeah, so that is how it all came together. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.